One of the things, remember I said from
Yes, there's an infant.
Marcus, you should mute.
Get countries behind them. I got Slovenia behind that long ago. On a ship to Antarctica to expose it. They joined the
Someone should mute. Everybody should mute.
So that's what you can do. Get it on the radar and help support the foundation in this way to take people, young people from countries to never normally go.
Hello, everyone.
I'm
Jim Garrison, and I want to welcome you to day 10 of the Humanity Rising program that is focused exclusively on the Conference of Parties that is taking place in Glasgow. The conference started on the 1st of November. It concludes this Friday. Each day we've been having a different theme. And today we want to focus on the Amazon and rainforests from around the world. And we want to, in the spirit of a globalizing world, articulate a message from Amazonia and the rainforest to COP26. Our program is a full one today. It's got a lot of moving parts. We have people from all over the world, including in the rainforest and in Glasgow and other parts of the planet coming in. So we will do our best, and we hope that the Zoom gods will be beneficent. So we ask everyone to just bear with us and be flexible. We want to start our program with an invocation from the rainforest. And we want to bring in Célia Xakriabá of the Xakriabá peoples of Brazil, an educator and activist who will give us our opening blessing. Célia.
You're muted, Célia. You need to unmute. Need to unmute, Célia. Marina, you need to unmute your camera. There you go.
Maybe everyone will just go directly to Marina Silva. Unless Célia, have you managed to unmute?
She's open now. Marina, you're live.
Marina, você já está aberta aqui. Boa tarde.
Boa tarde, Marina. Você é sua intérprete hoje.
Eu não consegui ouvir direito a introdução. Já é a minha fala ou ainda vamos ter uma fala?
She was not able to hear the introduction. Is this so she can start already or not yet?
Please start.
Não, eu só queria saber se já é a minha fala agora.
Já é a sua fala, Marina.
Já é a sua fala.
Deu um probleminha com o som, então eles estão pedindo para você entrar antes do que foi antes, tá bom? Já é a sua fala. Obrigado, Marina.
Muito bem-vinda, Marina.
Aqui no Brasil é boa tarde. Eu peço desculpas porque eu tive um problema aqui que não consegui me conectar e acompanhar adequadamente aqui com vocês.
Here in Brazil, it's the afternoon.
Está fazendo esse diálogo nessa COP26. Agradeço pelo convite. Eu estava tendo um diálogo ainda há pouco com um conjunto de jovens e um diálogo muito interessante sobre como fazer...
Marina, você tem intérprete e eu preciso fazer a tradução do que você está falando, então faz umas falas mais curtas, para que eu possa ir fazendo a tradução. Então, eu vou falar o que você falou até o momento, depois você começa de novo, tá? She says that she's very happy, thankful to be here. Here it's in Brazil, it's already the afternoon, and she was a little while ago with youngsters having this conversation that was very, very good. Pode continuar, Marina, só que faz mais curtinha as tuas falas, por favor. Pode continuar.
E nesse diálogo estávamos exatamente tratando de como fazer as mudanças que o mundo precisa diante das emergências que estamos vivendo em relação principalmente à perda de biodiversidade e à crise climática.
In this dialogue she was having with these youngsters, they were talking about exactly what are the possibilities and actions plans that can be taken at this moment of this climate crisis, exactly.
E quando a gente verifica o que está acontecendo aí na COP, em que os compromissos que estão sendo assumidos são muito aquém daquilo que a necessidade do planeta nesse momento apresenta.
When we see what is happening at COP26, and we see that the conversations are, and the need is much further ahead than what is really needed. What they're talking about, what is needed is much more.
E que se fizermos tudo o que precisa ser feito no âmbito dos compromissos já assumidos, mesmo assim teremos um aumento da temperatura em quase 3 graus Celsius.
Even if action is taken at this moment, we will still have 3 degrees higher of the temperature expected, no matter what is done at this moment.
E eu fiquei também observando toda essa discussão sobre a viabilização dos 100 bilhões de dólares por ano para contribuir com a transição dos países vulneráveis.
I have been observing also the use of this distribution that is planned of $100 billion to contribute to the vulnerable people. I have been observing this. Você estava observando como esses 100 bilhões vai ser usado, é isso?
Uma dificuldade muito grande para viabilizar esses recursos, mas, infelizmente, o mesmo não acontece em relação aos subsídios que são dados para as atividades que impactam o planeta pelo uso de energias fósseis.
There's a difficulty here. Alan, can you help me with that? I didn't get the essence of what she said. Eu estou pedindo para o Alan falar sobre essa partezinha do subsídio, que eu não entendi direito.
So even if we get to the task that we are...
O que falei é que tivemos uma grande dificuldade para que os países ricos viabilizem os 100 bilhões de dólares para ajudar os países vulneráveis a cada ano. E o mesmo não acontece quando se trata de subsidiar atividades que causam impacto destrutivo ao planeta.
Okay, she finds that there's a more difficulty in the use of this $100 billion in order to help people that are vulnerable, much more than the use that is being done to subsidize other types of actions.
He manages expectations really well, and he gives the other position, right?
Ações que impactam negativamente o planeta.
Actions that really impact the situation of the planet.
All right, so
Eu acho que estamos com um problema de tradução. Eu não estou conseguindo...
Você não está ouvindo o que eu estou traduzindo, Marina?
Alan está conosco?
Eu estou sim, Marina. Pode falar, eu vou procurar traduzir.
Como temos dificuldade, e é compreensível, porque peço desculpas por não falar inglês, eu não falar espanhol, só falar português. Eu vou tentar simplificar o máximo que eu gostaria de dizer. Nesse momento, segundo informações do relatório das Gupta...
Alan, continua você.
Alan?
Desculpa, eu estou com um barulho bem forte aqui nesse momento. Eu peço desculpas, Marina. A gente não está conseguindo cuidar direito da...
Eu vou tentar. She said that she says she's sorry that she doesn't speak English or Spanish, and we're having a hard time with the translation because it's quite complex, and she's going to be more precise as best she can. And Alan has a problem with his sound. Pode continuar, Marina. Eu vou tentando aqui. Bora lá.
Patrícia, eu acho que a Marina não está te escutando.
Marina, você está me escutando?
Não, ela não está te escutando.
Ok. Marina, muito obrigado. Temos problema de som. Me desculpe muito, mas vamos jogar um vídeo agora que é bem melhor. Thank you very much, Marina. Thank you very much.
Obrigada, desculpa. Um bom evento para todos vocês.
Muito obrigado, muito obrigado. Can we play the videos, please?
Obrigada, boa tarde.
Obrigado.
Yeah. Is Rick playing the video or we're going to do? Okay.
Yes.
Hoje, a Amazônia se tornou uma zona de guerra. 90% do desmatamento é ilegal.
os recursos humanos e financeiros destinados ao fortalecimento dos órgãos ambientais foram dobrados, com vistas a zerar o desmatamento ilegal. E os resultados desta importante ação já começaram a aparecer. Na Amazônia, tivemos uma redução de 32% do desmatamento no mês de agosto, quando comparado a agosto do ano anterior.
So, hi there, Rick. Thank you very much for showing that video. And Marcus, are the indigenous leaders ready?
They are supposed to be there.
Okay, can you find out? I think I will.
Are you joining that?
I will.
Hey.
So I think. Where are you guys? Rick, you're in the train.
Yeah, I'm with it. That person there. Look.
Oh, great. Hello,
We're on the train. We
Okay,
had troubles getting a cab, so apologies for our slight tardiness. I'll go on mute.
Okay, so we're going now back. Okay, can you mute yourself, and we'll go on. So it was a little bit of a messy start. Sorry, people who are watching. Still, this is a very important moment. Today, we are bringing people together to understand that the Amazon rainforest is in danger. It is in danger of a runaway dieback, and that dieback the world cannot afford. The Amazon rainforest is the most biodiverse place on Earth. It is drying out and dying back by itself as we speak. The latest science has confirmed this. If this runaway event becomes completely unstoppable, it will add 300 gigatons of extra CO2 to the atmosphere within decades. If we do not stop the destruction now and start to regenerate it. If things do not turn out, if we do not turn things around now, it will smash the Paris Accord climate limit of 2°C, accompanied by droughts, famine, and mass migration. It is still possible to turn things around at the scale and speed required to do so. The indigenous leaders know this. The world needs to embrace the forest and inhabitants and provide the technical and financial means to start regeneration now. It is possible, but we have no time to waste. The Amazon countries will benefit enormously from this great effort. Thank you. So, Marcus, can we get Sonia?
They are at the venue.
Okay, so where is the venue? Inga?
In Glasgow. I don't know who they're with, who's directing them or taking them where they need to go, but they're there.
All right, then I invite Antonio Nobre to talk to us. Antonio, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Well, we had a bit of a messy start, so thank you so much for being here. You are the leading scientists on the Amazon rainforest and the interaction between the forest and the atmosphere. And I would like you to take your time to explain how we can actually do something about the dieback. You have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in the Glasgow happening. I was sorry that we could not listen more of Marina Silva, because I'm sure she had a very powerful and potent message to this topic. And also I would love to have followed on Sonia Guajajara and other indigenous leaderships that we are going to speak, because I think that native knowledge is ahead of us. It's not by chance that Ailton Krenak says that he has ideas to delay the end of the world. And so once I was bumped to the beginning, let me bring some few key notions or key questions. First of all, when people hear that the Amazon forest is in the brink of dying back, from climate change on one hand and from human attack on the another one, the idea is that we get into panic because of the reasons that Rob gave just in his introduction. The Amazon is not only a big store of carbon. The Amazon is the most powerful climate organ, if you will, in the planetary scale, especially for its role in cooling the planet through the water and an energy cycle. Trees, they are very comfortable to sit under, not by chance. Trees are incredibly powerful evaporators. Every gram of water evaporated harvests almost 600 calories of heat from the surface. It's like a potent air conditioning. And this heat is packed into vapor. It rises to 5 kilometers, 4 or 5 kilometers. And then when condensation happens, also through the help of the forest, then this heat is released near the space and it cools down the planet. So all this phenomenon is known in science, and but has not gone viral. And people think that the Amazon is like a sitting duck, staying there waiting for climate change to strike and then it dying back. It's not true. The Amazon is very powerful, climate conditioning organ, as I mentioned. And especially, it can fend for itself. It has for 50 million years. The Amazon has stood in many, many cataclysms and bounced back. What is then the difference from 50 million years to what is happening now? Throughout this period of millions of years, there was no chainsaw, no bulldozer, no fire, as the humans have put upon this. So the Achilles heel of the Amazon is it's not able to cope in a short term with the onslaught of technology, destructive technology. So because every year chainsaws and bulldozers and fire are producing a massive destruction, the forest is really indeed, falling down, and is not able to cope with this. That is where we have the tipping point. The tipping point is not by the forest itself. And then I pass to a concept, which is, it should be in everybody's awareness, like many things are. But this is crucial. It's called seed. Seed has the most powerful technology conceivable. We eat seed in our cereals. We have this as take for granted. But inside each seed, you have a brain, you have a germ, you have sensors, and it's an incredibly evolved technology to cope with situations that are not favorable. So different from human technology. For example, if you have a town and it's struck by an earthquake and the buildings fall down, you have to go there and build brick by brick back all the buildings. If the Amazon rainforest is destroyed to a certain limit, you don't have to go back. Seeds will do it. You know, birds will bring seeds down, and then if you come back after, if you don't disturb it any further, it will regrow. This is a miracle, technological miracle, and we can count on that. If we manage tomorrow to completely suppress human factor, the destructive technology that is day and night destroying the forests, I am completely convinced, from my knowledge, I lived 20 years in the Amazon. I heard this speech by Indian wise people. The system will kick back, will, recover, will be restored. We can help this process, as Rob mentioned, and we certainly will do it if we can, if we have resources. But there must be a concerted effort of everybody to do that. The new science is showing that if we can recover the areas near the ocean, in South America near the Atlantic Ocean, and with a sufficiently large swath of forests, then forests will pick up and will start pumping the flying rivers back into the Amazon, the areas that have been damaged. And eventually we will restore the Amazon in all its might. But we need to have both control of misdeeds, destruction, and second, we need resources and cooperation, not competition. We need cooperation of everybody to make this happen. So this is my message for today. If there is any other opportunity to come in, I will be glad to. I will be here and glad to participate.
Antonio, thank you very much.
Yes.
Antonio, could you come back for 1 minute to explain the most important issue, the mechanism of the biotic pump a bit more?
Okay.
It's so crucial to the whole thing, right?
Sorry?
It's so crucial to the regeneration of the Amazon rainforest. Thank you.
The biotic pump theory is an explanation that took the world by storm. In the last 15 years, we have understood how, the forest is able to provide for itself in terms of rainfall. Of course, many people know that trees transpire and then there is rain. And for a long time, people believed that there is forest where it rains. And we have demonstrated that is the reverse. There is rain where there are forests. And this has been known by native peoples from prehistoric time. It's ancestral knowledge. And we have been able to explain the physical mechanisms responsible for this capacity that the forests have, native forests mainly, which is forests release scents or smells like terpenes, isoprenes, fungi, spores, and other particulates and salt grains. And this, which I call the fairy dust or the magical dust. It provides cloud condensation nuclei or cloud seeds, and then it fosters the condensation, Condensation, when water vapor at height condenses, it disappears from the air and lowers pressure. When it lowers pressure, then this will make it like a vacuum cleaner. It will suck nearby air, moist air from over the ocean inland. This is called the biotic pump. The biotic pump is functional when you have a functional forest promoting it. And we have studied for decades, and we have met with the native knowledge, which says this is why you have forest providing moisture for itself and for whoever lives near the forest. In South America, we have what? Okay, you have to go now. Sorry.
No, Antonio, keep going.
Antonio, keep going.
Keep going. Okay. In South America, we have this massive forest, the Amazon, still standing, half of it. The other half is very badly damaged. And we can identify that the flying rivers coming, these rivers of water vapor, like filaments of water vapor flowing in the sky above our heads. It goes all the way from the Atlantic over the Amazon, pumped by the Amazon, actually. The pump is the Amazon, as I explained with the biotic pump. And then it keeps going. And then it hits the Andes. The Andes are like a wall, you know, that blocks this flow towards the west. And it turns and comes to an area that produces 70% of the South American GDP. You know, the area, the central south part of South America, where you have a grain belt and you have industry, you have hydro dams, you have all the economic activities and the most developed areas. And these we call the downwind areas of the flying rivers from the Amazon rely on this flow of moisture that allows this area to have rainfall. If you look in the globe, in a global map, you see that the deserts are aligned around 30 degrees south, 30 degrees north in the globe. And this area is an exception because of the flying rivers coming from the Amazon. So what is happening? We have been damaging the forest. We have destroyed more than almost 100 billion trees in the last 40 years. In the Amazon and the neighboring countries. And now this eastern flank of the Amazon is failing. That's what people are saying. It crossed the tipping point. It's failing. It's no longer able to promote the biotic pump. Therefore, the flying rivers are getting weaker. And we are experiencing every year more and more drought towards the south, which is absolutely obvious. If you go and you dam a river downstream, you don't have water anymore. And that's what is being done. It's the damaging of the pump upstream, upwind, let's put it this way. And then this river is faltering. But the river to the west is now not faltering because the forest is still mostly not intact, but is almost most of it is preserved. And the flying rivers is happening. So you have a lot of moisture coming into the South America through the western branch of the flying rivers. And you have a faltering moisture transport or conveyor belt on the eastern side. So what happened is that on the eastern side, because of lack of moisture, you have a bubble of hot, dry air sitting on the land like a big elephant, atmospheric elephant. And this moisture that comes from the west hits the border of this elephant, atmospheric elephant, and start falling all of there. Then you have floods in the west and you have droughts in the east. It has happened, wow. And it has happened since 2014.
Wow. Antonio, that was an incredible way to explain what is actually happening. If we all know the world is in a climate crisis and we are in tipping points, and the Amazon is in the tipping point of dieback. If you would say, what are the most important priorities in the world to do something about climate change? Would you recommend to do an immediate intervention in the reforestation of the Amazon by the people on the ground?
This is a very good question, Rob. In fact, I think the fight against emissions is very well put. And I think science has been saying that since 1898, with the first paper by Arrhenius, the Swedish scientist. And then since 79, science has been, it's so obvious. And still, we have not done anything. And I am very appalled to hear what the news coming from Glasgow. I hope this week something will turn in the other direction, because I see washing big time in Glasgow, unfortunately.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Antonio.
What I see that's important, that respond to your question, is that if we manage to restore forests like the Amazon and replant forests in other areas that have been, that had forests in the previous time, we are much better off in the fight against climate change than only doing the control of emissions, because the forest will act directly in the water and energy cycle, as opposed to just, and on top of carbon sequestration. If you have more moisture, you can sequester carbon in the vegetation and in the soil, which is a critical sink for carbon. And on top of that, you have an effect that's much bigger, which is on the water. Sorry, go ahead.
Antonio, thank you so much. We're now going to try to get live to the venue where the indigenous leaders are waiting to join us.
Thank you.
Please, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Can you unmute?
Yes, we can unmute.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please go ahead.
Desculpe, bem-vindas e desculpe por esperar e não ter ninguém para traduzir. Nós tivemos um problema com o som, eles estavam tentando arrumar. Eu estou aqui há 40 minutos desesperado, tentando falar com alguém, achar alguém para falar com vocês, e não conseguíamos.
Okay, so do we have sound now, Marcus?
There's nobody there. It has to be me.
Okay, so but can we, do we have the declaration?
Yes, so, Sonia is going to speak first.
Okay, so whenever the sound is on, we can start, right?
Vocês conseguem escutar a gente? Então, nós vamos começar com a Célia fazendo um canto, uma prece.
It's not possible.
Inga, can you hear me?
Hey, hey, Anapue. Hey, hey, Anapue. Hey, hey, Anapue. Hey, hey.
Marcus, unmute yourself.
Sônia, o chão é seu. Você pode começar a falar e eu vou traduzir diretamente como a gente sempre faz.
Olá, gente. Boa tarde.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon.
Estão nos acompanhando aí nas redes sociais, na transmissão ao vivo. Estamos falando aqui diretamente de Glasgow, onde está acontecendo a conferência, a 26ª Conferência do Clima.
I would like to say hello to everybody who is following us through the social media and through the streaming. We are speaking directly from Glasgow, where COP26 is happening, 26th conference about the climate change.
Estamos acompanhando, né, as agendas no espaço onde está, né, a sociedade civil, porque o espaço do governo não é permitido a entrada de quem está defendendo a terra.
So we are following the agenda and the work that's being done here, where only general public and civilians can be, the place where the official discussions, where government officials are being deliberating. They are not allowing anyone that has been working directly with the earth and with the ground and with the forest. They are not allowing, so they are not part of the discussion. They're keeping them out.
Estamos em uma delegação de mais de 40 indígenas do Brasil.
They are on a delegation that has more than 40 indigenous leaders from Brazil.
E trouxemos aqui a nossa posição com a preocupação sobre a não demarcação dos territórios indígenas.
And they brought here their demand and their concerns about the non-following the Constitution and the laws that has to do with the demarcation of indigenous land as it is determined by the Constitution.
O governo Bolsonaro, ainda em sua campanha, declarou-se como inimigo dos povos indígenas, negando os nossos direitos territoriais.
That President Bolsonaro, who is in office right now, since he started his campaign, he declared that he's against all the indigenous rights that is guaranteed by law.
São muitas as medidas que compõem a agenda anti-indígena no âmbito dos 3 poderes da União no Brasil.
There are several different measures and different actions that are in place that comes from all the 3 different powers that are today in the administration of the country.
E nós estamos aqui para dizer que não haverá como conter a crise climática se continuar com a exploração de minérios, do garimpo ilegal, o desmatamento nos nossos territórios, o aumento das monoculturas para atender o agronegócio.
We're not going to be able to stop climate change and address the climate crisis if we don't address what's happening in Brazil right now, which is the demarcation of the land, stop deforestation, stop monoculture in the agribusiness, having all the cattle that are invading and taking over the forest. So if that is not taken under consideration, and if they don't bring the indigenous communities and indigenous people to the table, nothing's gonna stop the climate crisis.
Enquanto nós estamos aqui e os governos estão tentando negociar para chegar em um acordo, o desmatamento está aumentando, as queimadas continuam crescendo em todos os biomas brasileiros, como já queimou a Amazônia, a Mata Atlântica, o Pantanal.
If there's nothing that is being done by the authorities, we need to come and express to you worldwide what's happening, so it doesn't continue to happen what everybody's witnessing and seeing on the news and seeing all over the place where the media is covering, that is the burn of the forest, the burn of the Pantanal, and also the Atlantic forest that basically doesn't exist anymore. Only 20% of the Atlantic forest exists today.
O garimpo ilegal continua violentando as mulheres e contaminando as crianças de mercúrio.
The mining is not only a problem because it destroyed the forest and destroyed the earth, but it becomes a problem of sexual violence towards women and also towards the kids in the region.
Pensar em reduzir as mudanças climáticas é pensar fazer a justiça climática.
To address climate change, you need to address the climate justice.
E não haverá solução para a crise climática se não demarcar os territórios indígenas.
And there's no way to resolve the climate crisis if there's no demarcation of the indigenous territory.
Nós estamos aqui para defender a Amazônia.
We are here to defend the Amazon.
Mas a Amazônia sozinha não vai conseguir segurar a vida no planeta.
But the Amazon alone, without any help and support, is not going to be able to support the life of the planet.
Nós precisamos proteger todos os biomas.
We need to protect all the biomes.
O Cerrado, a Mata Atlântica, o Pantanal, os Pampas.
The Pantanal, which is the swamps, the Atlantic forest, the Pampas down in the south.
Todos estão igualmente destruídos.
Every single piece of them is destroyed.
Então, aqui, mais do que acordo, é preciso acordar para respeitar os direitos dos povos indígenas e proteger os nossos territórios e os nossos modos de vida.
So here at COP26 at Glasgow, more than an agreement, we need to wake up so people can start understanding that the government and the world need to respect our way of life, respect our rights, and respect what is being guaranteed by the Constitution. It's our way of life.
Só assim nós teremos garantia da proteção da biodiversidade.
This is the only way that we will rest assured that the biodiversity will be protected.
E se a biodiversidade está ameaçada, toda a humanidade está em risco.
If biodiversity is in threat, the whole humanity is in threat.
Então nós contamos com a colaboração de todas as pessoas e convocamos todas as pessoas do mundo para o Reflorestar Mentes.
So we are here to ask the collaboration of everyone, every single person around the world that has to play a part in protecting the forest, because now it's time for us to reforest our minds.
Somente com a consciência dos humanos nós vamos conseguir salvar a Mãe Terra.
Only with our own consciousness, with the men and women's consciousness, is how we're going to save Mother Earth.
Demarcação já.
Land back now.
Obrigada.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonia Guajajara, leader of APIB, of the indigenous peoples of Brazil. Thank you for your passionate speech, and I hope the world will wake up and embrace the Amazon forests and regeneration of the biomes of South America. I see that the video is lost again.
Sonia, ele está agradecendo. Você está falando para todas as pessoas no mundo que estão escutando nesse momento e fazendo esse chamado para que as pessoas venham colaborar e venham ter seu papel consciente a reflorestamento, para que todos saibam que é um trabalho de todos salvar a floresta e salvar a Amazônia e proteger a vida e o bioma.
So it seems we have lost a connection to a video connection, at least to the venue. Is it possible for Samela to come forward, please? Marcos, você pode traduzir ou eu quero você?
Você está cortando. You're breaking up. I can barely hear you.
Samela.
Samela. Você consegue escutar? Porque a gente não está conseguindo ver, perdemos a conexão de vídeo. Eles estão conectados, eu não sei se o que está acontecendo. I don't know what's happening. I cannot hear anything.
Marcus, who are we trying to reach?
Rob just said that we should call Samela. She's on the stage, is the youngest of the leaders, and she's going to talk on behalf of the young generation of indigenous people, and she's going to also read the document of the demands from PB and what they have agreed with Fridays for Future.
Is it in the same room that we were just in, or a different room?
The three indigenous ladies that are on stage.
Okay, let me see. I'll cue them and ask. I'm not getting a response. Oh, here we go.
Okay. Marcus, can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you have the English declaration that Samela was going to read?
I do have it in English, but she needs to be the one.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Okay. So we need to have contact to that venue. Please give us a little bit more time.
Hello. This is Christian calling from the venue live. We've got the declaration reader ready.
Great.
Are you okay to pin us live, and I'll go full frame. Yeah.
Richard,
hello to everyone. This is Extreme Hangout in Glasgow. And we are still online, and there is multiple windows looking at us from Zoom, and we need to read the declaration, and they are upstairs on the second floor and move to a different panel. So take a lead from on the second floor.
Okay. Read? Who's doing the reading?
What is supposed to happen? I think they don't know.
Samela is supposed to do the declaration.
The declaration?
Yes, to say the declaration of what they came to do.
Samela, bem-vinda.
Somebody should translate to them.
Yes. Who's the person here that speaks Portuguese? You speak Portuguese a little bit, right?
I'm not the translator. You guys should have somebody to do it.
Eu estou traduzindo. Vocês conseguem me escutar? Samela, você consegue me escutar?
Yeah.
Em português. Ela vai falar em português.
Yeah, they're disorganized, and bear with us.
She's going to speak in Portuguese, and I will do it in English.
Okay. Let's translate from that end.
Célia. Samela,
do Povo Saquarema-Ué, faço parte da articulação dos povos indígenas do Brasil, da articulação nacional das mulheres indígenas guerreiras da ancestralidade e sou ativista ambiental pelo Friday for Future Brasil.
obrigado. Samela.
Enquanto ativista do Friday for Future Brasil e comunicadora também da PIB, nós declaramos apoio à articulação dos povos indígenas do Brasil na atuação contra a mineração, a pastagem e acabar também com o genocídio, ecocídio e grilagem de terras, proibir todos os incêndios, não ter projeto de estradas novas, proibir a mineração, proibir novas barragens. E o Brasil e o mundo precisam entender que não tem como falar sobre preservação, não tem como falar sobre justiça climática, não tem como falar sobre justiça ambiental sem levar em consideração os povos indígenas. Então, nós vamos ajudar a contribuir também com uma nova coalizão de tecnologia e recursos para impedir a morte da floresta, também recompensar os povos amazônicos para regenerar e proteger a floresta, além de também ajudar a prevenir novas queimadas, desmatamento, invasões e grilagem. Obrigada.
Obrigado. Obrigado. Translate. Should I translate?
Yes, please, Marcus. Translate it in English, please.
Okay.
Eu sou Célia Xakriabá, do povo indígena Xakriabá, do bioma Cerrado, segundo maior bioma brasileiro. Estou aqui pela Articulação Nacional das Mulheres Indígenas, trazer um recado importante, porque não existe Brasil, nunca vai existir Brasil sem a presença das mulheres indígenas e dos povos originários. Nós estamos aqui para dizer, sim, que nós somos, sim, delegação oficial do Brasil, nós não temos medo de qualquer ameaça ecocida, genocida do governo Bolsonaro, porque nós somos filha da Mãe Terra. E quem é filha da Terra não tem medo, porque nesse momento nós entendemos que não é possível discutir sobre floresta em pé com sangue indígena no chão. Nós estamos trazendo um recado importante. A demarcação dos territórios indígenas representa, sim, uma solução para barrar o campo climático, porque nós somos 5% da população mundial, mas nós protegemos em torno de 83% da biodiversidade do mundo. O pulmão do mundo é indígena. Nós queríamos ser reconhecidos na verdadeira potência, como os maiores cientistas, porque o dia que nós, povos indígenas, dar o último suspiro, a humanidade também já não vai conseguir mais respirar. Hoje, a COP26, mas no Brasil, a COP é há 521 anos de resistência. Não é possível pensar em salvar o planeta sem reconhecer a contribuição de nós, povos indígenas.
Muito obrigado, Célia. So, Marcus, can you please explain a little bit what was said in Portuguese to the other people?
Samela was reading a declaration, the demands that PIB has made to be discussed during the COP26, but also the demands that it's necessary for them to continue to fight and to deal with the difficulties that are happening in Brazil. Those demands are the following, and they are being supported by Fridays for Future. Samela is the head of Fridays for Future in Brazil and part of the Council of Fridays for Future International. And they are supporting the demands of PIB, which is demarcation of the land, immediate demarcation of the land, all the indigenous land, to end genocide and ecocide, to end mining and killing of not only vegetations and trees, but human beings, stop fire, stop mining, illegal mining and illegal deforestation, stop pastures, stop monoculture and agrobusiness, no new cattle pasture, stop logging, no new roads, no mining, no dams, start reforestation where the forest was burnt and destroyed. Brazil and the world must understand that there is no solution to the climate crisis without the indigenous people in the lead. The indigenous territories are oases of biodiversity and models of climate solutions based on inherently environmentalist cultures. These are islands to start regeneration. Rivers, lakes, animals, forests have rights. You know, you have a floral code, a fauna code that needs to be obeyed, and they are law, and they are based on constitutional law and human rights law. This needs to be observed not only on internal territory, but all over. And they will bring together a coalition in technology and resources to stop the dieback, rewarding the Amazonian people to regenerate their lands, indigenous and Western knowledge to create bioeconomy, designate the well-being of human beings, and all the other things that are related to the forest.
Thank you very much, Marcus. While this has been quite a chaotic session because of technical problems, I think it is in itself crucial that Fridays for Future, the movement that Greta Thunberg started 3-4 years ago, is now aligning with the Brazilian indigenous peoples to not just protect the forest, the Amazon forest, but to regenerate it. And we call upon the world to give support, technical support, financial support to make this effort happening. Thank you very much, everybody, for being in this session. Marcus, you want to say something? Tell me.
Yeah, we have another video to show, and also we need to explain exactly what has happened in Brazil, why those videos were made, what happened at the United Nations, and we have Zach that is going to read a statement that was Sonia's statement that I would like to bring to light. So Zach, if you'd like to start.
Yes, thank you.
So Zach.
Good afternoon. On September 21st, 2021, world leaders gathered in New York City for the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The UN General Antonio Guterres announced that the world is in a catastrophic pathway with this climate crisis. Peru's President Castillo confirmed that his country will declare a national climate emergency. President Xi Jinping of China told the UN General Assembly that his country is set to provide more COVID-19 vaccinations to the world and highlighted the need to accelerate transition to green and low carbon economy while achieving green recovery and development. President Biden delivered his first UNGA speech as a US president and pushed for unified response to major issues, including climate change. Together with the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, he continues to stress action on climate change in an Oval Office meeting after his speech to the United Nations General Assembly. Every year since the 10th General Assembly in 1995, Brazil has been the first to address delegation followed by the United Nations, and this year was no different. Jair Bolsonaro, President of Brazil, took the podium speaking to the 76th session of the UN General Assembly, saying that the future of green jobs is in Brazil in the areas of renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, low emission, industry, basic sanitation, waste, treatment, and tourism. In sharp contrast to what the world has witnessed, Bolsonaro maintains that Brazil has recovered. Under his leadership, Brazil has been decimated by the coronavirus, with the second highest death rate in the world. Bolsonaro maintains that you cannot burn the Amazon because it is a rainforest. Yet, under his leadership, sectors have burned to make room for green jobs. On the same day that Bolsonaro was addressing the General Assembly, September 21st, Brazilian Arbor Day, Sonia Guajajara, a Brazilian indigenous leader representing the articulation of indigenous peoples of Brazil, transported a beautiful 6-meter Jatobá tree to the door of the Norwegian embassy in Brasilia to seek refuge from the threat of the Bolsonaro government and the devastation of the Amazon forest. This act is intended to draw worldwide awareness to the harmful effects of an irresponsible environmental policy currently being executed in Brazil. 4H5H Media is honored to share the 3-minute video highlighting the journey of the Jatobá tree and the cry for action for the Amazon rainforest. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have a second video.
So we know the second video. I think, Richard, can you play it, please?
Thank you.
Dear people, dear participants, dear people watching this, we're coming to the end of this event. It was technically the last minute. We had a lot of glitches, but I think the message to the world needs to be clear that if we lose the Amazon, we lose the fight on climate change. If the Amazon goes up in smoke, which scientists have said that process is starting, we will get so much more CO2 into the atmosphere that the Paris Accord to get the limit of 2 degrees is untenable. We need to gather around. Scientists like Antonio Nobre have the knowledge to do the regeneration if we do it fast and at scale, under the leadership of the indigenous peoples and with the help of the world. I think it is possible. We have to work to it. We have no other choice. The Amazon in dieback is basically the failure of a planetary organ without which the world and our species, the human species, cannot exist, at least not in a form that is compatible with our current way of living. So we need to regenerate ourselves. We need to regenerate our communities. We need to regenerate the forests, not just in the Amazon, but around the world. And we can cool the planet, at least partly because of that. Decarbonization, of course, needs to happen as fast as possible. The energy transition needs to happen as fast as possible. But the possibilities that come from regenerating the forests are stronger than almost anybody realizes, and we have to do it. Thank you very much. Jim, thank you. I am responsible for this event, so any flaws in the technical thing, please call me, but the floor is yours. Thank you.
Not to worry, Rob. Zoom happens. And, you know, in many ways, everyone, this has been exemplematic of our world. You know, we're interconnected with technology. Things are going on there in Glasgow at the COP, things in various parts of the world. We come in and out as we can. We'll edit all this, rest assured, and come up with something that I think will be very compelling. So I want to just note that. But while we have just a bit more time, I'd like to just round it out, if I may. Rob, if you could come back on, and I think Marcus and Alan, if you're still there, you know, maybe Patricia, you know, Rob, why don't we just start with you? You know, just I'd like to hear from you and Marcus and Alan and Patricia just about your passion for the Amazon. You know, and what has been motivating you to put all this together. You know, everybody that's been to the Amazon, which I have, and I know most of you are, you know, enter into the Garden of Eden. And so I think as we round this program off, and since we have a bit more time, would just love to hear from each of you about what motivated you to get so passionately involved in saving Amazonia. Rob, you go first.
Jim, thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me first say that at 65, I have seen a lot of the world. I've seen at least 100 countries, and I've lived and worked on 4 continents. And I've gotten to know Mother Earth quite well in many places, and the cultures and the nature, the landscapes. It was an amazing journey, and it was a wonderful life. On this journey, I was always, in the back of my mind, I knew that we had a crisis coming. I had that feeling when I was 16, that there would be a crisis larger than I could perceive. And while I was going through all these decades, I realized that every time I saw a crisis, I said, no, it's bigger than that. In 1989, James Hansen went to the American Senate and said that climate change is real, it is starting to happen, and we need to act now, because otherwise we will be in a huge crisis in a couple of decades. I heard that, and I didn't see it as a crisis because I thought, well, that's so obvious, the world must come together to do something about it. They didn't, we didn't. Then I lost the track for a while because for the first time I started to do a business and made an adventure and ecotourism company. And for years I've been working very hard, so I didn't look out of the window what was happening in the world. But when 2007, when I sold that company, I opened the shutters again and I saw nothing is happening. And I was shocked. I thought others would solve it for me. And I didn't realize that we have to solve it. All of us have to solve it. Then the question was where to begin. And understanding more and more that Gaia, our planet, is a living planet, a living being with organs. And basically the damage that we are doing to it makes it into organ failure. And more I realized that the forests were very important. In 2019, there was a crucial article, scientific article, which was talking about the tipping points in the climate system. Basically, it said that it's not a slow process of more heating and more droughts. No, they're tipping points, points where we go basically into the ravine. And I realized that the Amazon rainforest was one of them. And it was also the only one that we could actually do something about. Because the Amazon rainforest, we can plant trees, we can regenerate it. You can't stop the permafrost from melting. You can't stop the Arctic Ocean from melting. You can't stop the slowing down of the ocean currents. But this one we could, and they're all connected. So if we regenerate the Amazon forest, I realize not only do we recreate this immensely important place in the world, the largest, most biodiverse place in the world with all its beautiful cultures and animals, but we would also slow down the other climate tipping points. But still, it's so big. It's the size of the contiguous United States, 1.5 times the EU. How do you go about protecting and regenerating that? I went there again on the east side, where I was with the Guajajara people, where Sonia is from. And I connected them to the largest reforester in the world, which is called Eden Projects. But when I was there and driving around, I thought, this is already so dry, we can't put forest back there. So I connected to Antonio Nobre, who is the specialist by far, and he said, we can kickstart the Biotic pump by reforesting the areas on the coast so that the moisture comes in again from the Atlantic Ocean. And the cooling will start quite fast. Maybe after a decade or so, we will see the effects. So then I knew I had my mission, and this will be my mission. I still have 15 good years in me, and the Amazon forest is on my watch. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. What a story of deep passion that you've ended up starting in Holland. You've ended up in the Eastern Amazonia. It's beautiful. It looks like you're there from the appearance of your ceiling. So Marcus, would love to hear your story as we round this off. You've been a federal prosecutor.
Yes.
You've been an investment banker.
Yes.
You've won the Bellafella Award for your work in the environment. How does a federal prosecutor and investment banker end up so passionately in love with the Amazon?
Well, I think number one is because I'm Brazilian. I was born and raised in Brazil, in Rio, and it's very unique when you're living in the city and you're by the ocean, and in 10 minutes biking, you're in the middle of the forest, and you grow up like that, and you grow up, since a little kid, used to the green and the smell and the animals, and you're taught in school how to protect, and what you can do, what you cannot, and and my family, they were always very much grounded. They like to, my grandma liked to take care of the plants and teach us, all my uncles and aunts, and then the grandchildren. So for me, it was part of my life, my everyday life, and I cannot see myself detached to the forest. Every time we go, it's very sad because Rio is part of the Atlantic forest, and I have a dear friend who has been working very hard I actually have a few friends that are trying to work very hard on the reforestation of the Atlantic forest that goes from the south of Brazil up to the north and starts on the belt that protects the Amazon. It's basically totally gone. You only have 20% of the forest, but still there, and it's still vivid and very green. So you go to Rio and you have that luscious, backyard that you can go and play, and it's it makes a big difference. And when you start appreciating and you start seeing that, it's in peril, it's in danger, and it might extinguish, and with that, the whole life is going to extinguish, and we are part of the problem. So we can also be a part of the solution. We can also create movements that can revert the process, but we need to do this now, and we need to do this with conscious. It's not that I'm going to do my part and it's a little thing and it's going to help. No, it's not enough. We need to create movements, actions, and to be able to have the reaction that we want and that we need, not that we want only, that we need.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and for everything that you did to try to put this program together. Maybe Rob, Marcus, we can try again down the trail, particularly with Antonio Nobre. It would be good to have just a whole session from a guy of his deep encyclopedic understanding of the biotic pump and so forth with regards to rainforest, just to do a special presentation on Humanity Rising. We'll be in touch about that. But Marcos, thank you for everything you did to help.
You're welcome. Actually, I'd like to add something. I was speaking with my partner, Zach Kuipers, the other day. I think it would be very interesting to watch someone like Antonio Nobre, who is very astute and very knowledgeable, not only on the science part, but also on the economics and all that, to hear the economic side of the indigenous and the quilombolas and what they can, teach us about that.
Yeah, good. Well, we'll be in touch about that immediately after this program. But thank you. And then Alan, I'd like to bring you in, and I'm very conscious, everyone, that we didn't properly introduce Marina Silva at the beginning because of some of the technical confusions and so forth. But Alan is the reason why she appeared on the program. And just so everybody knows who Marina is, she is a very distinguished statesperson in Brazil, and I think recognized globally. She was a senator from Acre in Brazil for 16 years. She served in the Brazilian parliament. She served as the Minister of the Environment from 2003 to 2008, during which time she did probably more for the preservation of the Amazon than anything that's been done before or since. She ran for president multiple times. I think as recently as 2018 or 2019, and continues to be very active in a political party committed to environmental protection of the Amazonia and in the environment generally in Brazil, which is one of the largest countries in the world, alongside Russia, China, the United States, Canada, Brazil. There are a couple of countries that are just vast. And Alan has been there supporting her and is a very distinguished environmental activist in his own right. So Alan, I just wanted to acknowledge you on our program today and thank you for securing Marina, who's extremely busy, and would love to hear from you as well, just about your passion for the Amazon and what motivated you to get so deeply involved.
Thank you, Jim. Yes, really, Marina is one of a kind. She is even better known outside of Brazil than Brazil, because all of those political things and the fake news and everything. So outside of Brazil, when we are in Europe or United States or whatever, she's really regarded as one of the most important environmentalists in the world. She even got a lot of premios, Marcos premios. Awards, yeah, she has a lot of awards and everything. But she, because of her doing what she did from 2004 to 2008, we can understand that it's possible to do something for the Amazon, because it's a systemic way of looking. You cannot just say, oh, the logging people are the bad guys, oh, the cattle is that or that. It's systemic. So you cannot do anything if you don't take that look. And that's what Marina did. And what she did, she was kind of moving all the parts. So the deforestation came down, 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 down. And even when she went out of the government because they were building a dam on the Amazon, and the Amazon is flat, so you don't build a dam where it's flat. But so when she went out, the deforestation came down until 2012, and after 2012, it's rise up like a crazy thing. So I know, I saw, I feel that it can be done, but again, in a systemic way. So you go to education, you go to all those business that are behind. We work with people outside of Brazil to say, don't buy from these people because they are in the middle of all those things. So it's a huge thing to do, and Marina for sure is one of the most leaders of doing that, and she really doesn't take it for her. So you don't know many of the things that are happening in the world, you don't know it's her. So when you see Edgar Morin, he just got 100 years now. He's the complexity guy. He's a really beautiful guy. She's working with the foundation, doing beautiful things. And when you hear about that, you don't know she was there. So she's humble in an authentic way. She really is. And you told about Antonio Nobri, a very, very good friend of all. You are right. Humanity Rising with Antonio Nobri, we can understand how this Gaia, how this organism systemically works, because he's a scientist, but he talks in a way that everyone can understand. He just gave us a lecture on SOL, Society for Organizational Learning, last Friday, and he was telling us about the neurons on the heart. We have neurons on the heart. And he was explaining why this is important. So yeah, please, Jim, do it and invite me to come, because he's a very good friend and everyone will love what he will say. The Amazon can really be healed, but it's an effort of not one or two or many, many people. And of course, the indigenous people, when we talk about indigenous people, we're talking about at least 300 nations in Brazil. So it's like we had 300 countries in Brazil. They have their own culture, their own wisdoms, and this is beautiful. That's what Antonio Nobre was saying today. He was saying, they are the scientists. They have this knowledge. We have to learn from them. So I believe that we can do it and we will do it, but it's a systemic way. Everyone has to do their parts, and this is what makes it beautiful. Thank you so much, Jim.
Yeah. And you know, you're making a really important point, Alan, that these problems are eminently solvable if you have people like Marina in charge. And that's really the problem. You know, we're being governed by pygmies. We're being governed by people who can't see beyond the politics of the next election to rise to become a true statesperson focused on the future, on the next generation. And Marina is one of those rare individuals who was able to do that within the complexities of ordinary politics in Brazil. And if you can pull it off there, you can pull it off anywhere. So, you know, maybe sometime down the trail, we could have Marina back as well, you know, really just to tell her story and to talk about, you know, her vision of the Amazon. So even though today's program was a little bit technically challenged, out of it is going to come, I think, some really good programming. So I'll be definitely in touch with you, and thank you for everything that you've done. And then Patricia, just wanted to bring you in and hear your voice because it was Patricia that introduced us to Alan. That was how the whole thing started. So Patricia, I just wanted to acknowledge you and your role that you played, and open the space for anything that you wanted to say.
Okay, I will be short, brief, but two things. The reason I'm involved with Amazon and nature, basically, it's not only the Amazon, it's nature in itself. I made a big move just recently, left São Paulo, the big city. I'm living in pure nature in Bahia, in the middle of Chapada Diamantina, trying to put together something of regeneration with the community, with the woman there. That's what my heart is pulling me to. And one thing I want to say is how I got here also is through Alan, because he pulled me. I mean, I've always been in love with nature and very concerned with social justice as well, the differences we have, and nature being depleted the way it is. However, I met Pachamama Alliance at a certain moment and became, I teach, I represent them in Brazil along with Alan as well, and called my attention the way they got started many, many years ago, which was the meeting between the Amazon Achuar people in Ecuador with Lynn Twist, Bill Twist, and how they met. And the whole idea was not come and help us and save us from the oil companies and this, it was how do we put an alliance together? How do we together do something? And that was very moving to me. And then I'm in the last COP in Paris, we organized, Alan and I organized a meeting with Marina and several others. And I remember Marina saying something, I'm just gonna end with this. Marina said something that is exactly what is being worked out here. I picked her up in the airport and she said, there's no way we can do anything if we thought the artificial system, I don't know if those were exact words, but wants us separate, each one doing their own thing, each one following up their project, doing their stuff, doing whatever. You know, a whole bunch of little fires, you know, blazes all over. We need to put our blazes together. We have to stop this separation. We have to get together and together work this out. And then we can move the assemblage point of planet Earth, as Don Juan used to say. We move that assemblage point together. So that's why I'm here. That's why I follow Humanity Rising. I'm very grateful. And it was a pity she couldn't get on. I would love to have followed through, and I'm sure we can do it at another moment because she's so touching. My heart, when I hear her, I feel like crying because she brings it not only from the technical, rational way of understanding things, but she goes straight to the heart also. So I think it's important we work something out to bring her back. Thank you, Jim, so much, and Rob and Alan and all of you who are here.
Well, thank you, Patricia. And, you know, that reminds me, and I'd like to close with this little story about the origins of the Pachamama Alliance, just to underscore something that Antonio Nobre said about the indigenous being scientists. You know, we often see them in their regalia, and we tend to provincialize them or romanticize them, but the story of the origin of the Pachamama Alliance is very instructive concerning the astuteness and the power of the indigenous mind. And I know this because I was there back in 1995 at the origin of the Pachamama Alliance in San Francisco with Bill and Lynn Twist. And the way that all started, everyone, was through dreams. Lynn and Bill and several other people completely independently of each other started to have dreams in which the Achuar appeared to them. And as they began to reflect on the dreams that they were having and converse about the dreams, they began to realize that they were being communicated with through dreams to actually do something to help the Achuar there in the Amazonian region of Ecuador, who were under duress as the big oil companies in collusion with a corrupt government, which is always what happens, were encroaching on indigenous territory, which was theirs by legal right. So Bill and Lynn Twist went down there and met the people that were communicating to them from Ecuador in their dreams in San Francisco. I mean, think that thought, everyone. Just take that in for a moment. That's the power of the Amazon. That's what it means when Rob said that it's all a living system. The Amazonia has its own intelligence. It has its own ways of communicating with all of us. And even through the glitches that we've experienced here today, Amazonia was present. And we should all just acknowledge that. That as we close this session, let us just honor the indigenous peoples that are infinitely vulnerable, but infinitely prescient and infinitely capable of leading us to the regenerative future that we all so desperately seek. And even more fundamentally, understand that the reason why the indigenous people are so prescient and powerful and clear is because they're the remnant of human beings that have stayed in open communion with Gaia herself. And even from Glasgow in the COP, they speak with that power. So it's in the name of that power. It's in the name of that wisdom. It's in the name of that grace that I want to thank Rob, Marcus, Alan, Patricia for galvanizing this session for us. And rest assured, we're going to continue this discussion over the next weeks and months and deepen our commitment to the Amazonia in a way that's going to make a difference in our own small way here on Humanity Rising. So thank you, everyone. Tomorrow we're going to turn our attention to biodiversity generally and how we can regenerate various bioregions, looking initially at Costa Rica, but bringing in other bioregions from around the world. That'll be tomorrow on Humanity Rising for our 11th day of the COP. And then we will close out on Friday with a very special program comprised of the people that have convened all these various panels. But Rob, Marcus, Alan, Patricia, deep thanks for everything you did to bring this program for us today. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.